Hello, I'm Emma Roach, and my thesis is a conceptual art book for a hypothetical game, mainly consisting of character designs. It would be a dark fantasy role-playing game in which the player encounters gods beyond their comprehension and would get to decide how they would like to approach these entities. For example, would you ask for a blessing or try to fight? The idea is that every god and every player character would react differently depending on the player's actions. This would give the player agency while also allowing them to learn the nature of these creatures. The book itself is meant to function as a vague manual that gives a short description of each character. I wanted to use this project to investigate concepts like theology and choice through the lens of world building and storytelling. Fiction has always been an integral part of my life. I couldn't count the number of hours I've spent reading, playing video games, or watching movies and television. I've always been of the opinion that fiction is so much more than just entertainment. It can teach us so much about the world and about ourselves. From fantastic cautionary tales intended to teach us morals, to dystopian stories that investigate the downfall of society, storytelling is a way to bring a viewer outside of their own frame of reference and allow them to learn or ask questions about topics that may otherwise feel too close to home. I find horror a very prevalent medium when it comes to investigating complex topics. Horror stories are able to investigate topics so often considered taboo. Within my thesis, I explore theology, psychology, and even existentialism with a Lovecraftian lens. It is so much easier to challenge topics like religion outside of reality. It allows one space to ask complex questions without feeling as if their belief system is being challenged. Not to mention, the fantastical elements just make it so much more engaging. The character designs were created with an emphasis on visual storytelling to elevate the world-building aspect of this project. For example, all of the borders correspond to a certain deity and any creature or person related to said deity. This adds a visual distinction between the different factions of characters. The God of Madness's head is unusually large and round, to resemble the moon, because of the old notion that the moon caused people to go mad, hence lunacy. They are also extremely emaciated to show visible frailty. The idea was to hint at the nature of each character so the observant viewer is able to piece together their personality and relevance without the information being shoved in their face. The style is intended to be unsettling and intriguing. The muted color palette and warped, strange proportions and anatomy are meant to emphasize this style, hopefully making the characters both beautiful and disgusting. I wanted to toe the line between divinity and monstrosity to show how thin I find the veil between the sacred and profane. I have always been drawn to art styles that are more unsettling, with a sense of mystery about them. I think there will always be something fascinating about the macabre. Horror can represent so many things, whether it be an allegory for the outsider or a depiction of human fear. I have always been interested in it for reasons I can't quite describe. I'm sure I will continue to investigate the genre in the future. Someday, hopefully, actually make this project a playable game. While making this project, I realized how much I loved the little details and flourishes that really make a story. I found myself getting carried away with the smallest things, from borders to backgrounds. Things originally meant only to reinforce the story. They ended up being some of my favorite pieces. I think all the little things are really what reinforce the world I set out to build. Showing, not telling, and all that. While I would have loved to make this a much more extensive project, there were time constraints and it's been a solo project, so I pretty quickly realized that I wouldn't be able to complete it in time. I had to figure out what to prioritize and what wasn't necessary. I was more concerned with getting the characters and atmosphere completely realized than fully fleshing out how the whole game would function. While I have really enjoyed doing this project, I think in the future I would like to work collaboratively. It is definitely nice to have full creative freedom, but I would like to be part of larger projects and get more input from other creators. For so long, it has felt like this project has only existed within my mind, and it would certainly be nice to have a few extra hands. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the book.